Iron storage, metabolism, and recommendations. Iron can be stored in the liver as part of a protein called ferritin. The more iron stored in the liver, the higher the amount of ferritin in the liver. What is unique about ferritin is that it spills over in the blood and can thus be measured in the serum. It so happens that the level of serum ferritin reflects the liver ferritin and thus the amount of iron stores in the body. Please note that ferritin is not the transport protein for iron in the blood. Serum ferritin is a routine measurement in clinical practice to assess iron status. Iron is transported from the intestine to the liver and from the liver to the tissues bound to a protein called transferrin. When people have plenty of iron stored in the liver, the relative amount of iron bound to transferrin, called the transferrin saturation, is also high. When people do not ingest sufficient amounts of iron, initially their iron stores in the liver are slowly emptied, resulting in a gradual decrease in serum ferritin. Once ferritin levels drop below a certain level, the liver cannot release adequate amounts of iron anymore, resulting in a decrease in transferrin saturation. Most of the iron transported by transferrin is taken to the bone marrow, where the iron is used for the synthesis of hemoglobin. The hemoglobin is incorporated into red blood cells, which are released from the bone marrow into circulation. After approximately 3 to 4 months, the red blood cells are broken down mainly in the spleen, and the liberated iron is released into the blood, bound to transferrin and taken to the liver. The delivery of iron to the bone marrow for synthesis of red blood cells and the return of the iron to the liver from the spleen after dismantling the red blood cells is called iron recycling. The body is very efficient at reusing iron. Only a small amount of iron, 1 to 2 milligrams, is lost on a daily basis and needs to be replenished via the diet. Women of childbearing age lose more iron than men due to their menstrual cycle and associated blood loss. Accordingly, the recommended daily allowance for iron for adult women is 18 milligrams per day, whereas it is only 8 milligrams for adult men. Please note that we need to ingest a lot more iron than is lost from the body because of the low iron absorption. The iron requirements are highest for pregnant women due to their rapidly expanding blood volume and the iron needed to support the growth of the embryo. Previously, it was mentioned that the body is able to adjust iron absorption according to iron status. What happens is that when iron stores in the liver are high, the liver releases a hormone called hepcidin. Hepcidin travels from the liver to the intestine, where it suppresses iron absorption by preventing the delivery of iron from the intestinal cell to transferrin. As discussed before, transferrin transports the iron from the intestine to the liver. As a consequence, the iron remains in the intestinal cells, which are eventually degraded, causing the release of its contents into the stools. The opposite happens when iron status is low. Little hepcidin is released, maximizing intestinal absorption of iron and transfer to transferrin. A small number of people have a defect in this feedback system, causing them to absorb far too much iron. Consequently, they incur liver damage related to the excess storage of iron in the liver. This often unrecognized genetic condition is called hemochromatosis and is most common in Scandinavian countries. The only treatment is frequent blood donations to rid the body of iron.